Hello! It's been a while. My own fault. I have moved to a new place. That is one of the reasons it's taken me a long time to post a new video. But welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the double brick stitch top for beaded fringe earrings. If you know nothing about making beaded fringe earrings, I suggest you go back to my first video, how to make beaded fringe earrings. I'll put up a link. Because that has all the basics, all the information, more details about materials and things like that. I'll still tell you about materials, but I always put materials in the description. So if you want to know what I'm using, look at the description. And this is just a variation on how to make beaded fringe earrings. This variation is how to make that long, tall, elongated top. The longer, taller triangle shape. Look at that. That makes sense. Longer, taller triangle shape for beaded fringe earrings. All right, let's get started. Let's look at an example. Here are two different pairs of earrings that I've made in the past that use the double brick stitch technique on the top. So how is this different than the single brick stitch? Here's a little comparison. I put the green double brick stitch earrings on the left, and then on the right, this is an example of a single brick stitch top. So you can see the triangles have a totally different shape from each other. First, let's talk materials. I'm going to use Fireline thread today and this Big Eye needle. Yes, these materials are different from my first video, but I've been trying new things and I really like these. I still recommend the materials from the first video too. I thread the needle and get it ready. Now we can look at the beads. I'm using, as I pretty much always do, Toho round size 11 beads, and I picked this color because I think it stands out. It looks good for a demonstration. All right. To get started, you're first going to pick up 4 beads. There, I've got 4 on my needle, and I'll slide them down my thread. And as always, don't pull the beads too far. You want to leave a tail of extra thread at the end. Now you can see I'm just flipping around my work just because I prefer to have my needle in my right hand. So I'm just making sure to show you when I turn it around. So now you can see clearly where everything is. The tail is over here on this side. The working thread is over here on this side. So you can see I've sort of separated my beads into groups of 2, and I bring my needle right behind the beads where the tail is coming from, and bring my needle through just 2 beads. And just pull it tight so that the beads are stacked next to each other. This is very, very similar to just the single drop brick stitch that I showed you in the original video. It's just sort of stacks of 2 beads each time instead of 1 bead at a time. Now, of course, we look at where my working thread is coming from, hop next door to the next stack of beads, and bring my needle through those 2 beads. All right, now to continue this row, pick up 2 beads, looking at where my working thread is coming from, go all the way on the opposite side of that same stack of beads, bring your needle through, and tighten so the new stack of beads is next to the previous stack of beads. And again, like before, look at where the working thread is coming from, hop next door, bring the needle back through that new stack of beads to secure it. Continue this ladder stitch row just like that. Pick up 2 beads at a time, make a circle around your current stack of beads, hop next door to secure the new stack of beads. All right, I'm just going to speed through the rest of this ladder stitch row. And I decided to stop at a width of 9 beads. And I'm going to throw in a new color here just because I think it'll be easier to see the difference when I add a new row on top. All right, I'm showing you that I'm just sort of flipping over my ladder stitch work so that the working thread is coming out of the top. That's just the way I like to work. All right, so to start this next row, pick up 4 beads. Look at the tops of the beads of the previous row. You're looking at the thread bridges. Go from the first to the second thread bridge away from your working thread and bring your needle through that second thread bridge. And when you pull it tight, the beads sort of look like a little arch right now. Bring your needle up through the 2 beads closest to your working thread. You can see it's already sort of straightening out and standing up. Now hop next door to the other stack of 2 beads. As your needle goes down through them, bring your needle through that thread bridge below them as well. And hop next door again up through the other stack of beads. Great, and that's how you start your new rows. Now you can pick up the next 2 beads to continue the row. 2 beads, bring your needle through the next thread bridge, pull it through, bring your needle up through that same stack of beads, and that's it. You can keep continuing like that. Pick up another 2 at a time, bring your needle through the next thread bridge, bring your needle back up through that stack of 2 beads. I just realized I've been saying thread bridges, but in my first video I said a bump of thread. That's the same thing. It's just a little bit of thread that goes in between the beads. I think I saw someone else's tutorial when they were saying thread bridges, so I picked it up. Same thing. Alright, so everything I just showed you is all you'll need to know if you're doing a very simple pattern where it's just one color or color blocks like I showed you. But if you want to do more complicated patterns, eventually you're going to get to a point in a pattern where you're going to pick up your 2 beads to do the next stitch, but they're going to be 2 different color beads. That's what will happen with more complicated patterns. So you might pause for a moment and think, wait, which bead do I pick up first? It's pretty easy to figure out. You could probably do it without my help, but I figured I'd just show you how I remember which bead to pick up first, so maybe it'll help you out. Alright, first I'm just showing you, again, that I'm flipping around my work so that the working thread is on the right side. That's just how I like to do it. Now, I quickly drafted this pattern just for the sake of this video because I wanted something simple that will utilize like a place where I'll have to pick up different colored beads. I don't necessarily love this pattern, I just did it quickly. Alright, so the first part of this next row isn't that interesting. It's just going to be a few more turquoise, so let's just transition past that. Alright, now we're in the middle of a row, and if we look at the pattern, what we're going to need is to have a dark blue on top of this stack and a turquoise on the bottom of this stack. My general rule for what to do here is wherever the working thread is coming from, pick up the closest bead to that first. Closest bead to the working thread is what you pick up first, so I pick up the dark blue first and then the turquoise. Alright, let's see how it works. Here we go, I'm picking up my dark blue and my turquoise. Bring my needle through the next thread bridge, and there you go. You can already see the beads are doing what we thought they would. Alright, bring my needle back up through them, secure it in place, and we did it. But let's see a different scenario. What about when we start a new row? So let's see when we start this next new row. I'm gonna flip my work around. Sorry about that. I feel bad for all the flipping around. I hope I don't make it too confusing. So when we start this new next row, remember you pick up 4 beads to start a new row, but the first 4 beads are different. To know what to do here, you need to know what the working thread is going to be doing. So every time you start in a new row, the 4 beads you pick up form a bit of an arch. So it'll start here and go up, over, and down in a little arch like that. So the rule still applies that the bead closest to your working thread you pick up first, and then after that you go in order around the little arch. So the order you pick them up will go 1, 2, 3, 4. So for our row, that means we're picking up turquoise, turquoise, blue, blue. And there it is, it did the thing, it looks correct. Alright, so basically if I were to sum up the pieces of advice for picking up different colors for the double brick stitch, they would be these 2 bits of advice. The first bead you pick up will always be closest to the working thread, and the beads will follow the path of the thread. So once the thread gets moving in the work, where is it going? Is it forming an arch? Is it just going next door? Where is the thread going to be going? And again, maybe all of that seems obvious to you. Like I didn't say anything super revolutionary. Like of course, the first bead you pick up is going to slide down your thread. It's going to be closest to where the thread is coming from because it's the first one you picked up. But that's the kind of thing that I didn't realize until I thought about it. There's some things in beading you don't realize until you see it and think about it. And very last thing, let me just real quick mention, you'll probably want to add a fringe to this. I'm not going to add a whole fringe, but It's basically the same as the way you would add a fringe normally, but let me just show you. I do recommend you bring your needle through the 2 beads on the bottom row every time instead of 1 bead, just because that's how the rows are formed and you don't have any thread like going in between those sets of 2 beads. So when I add the fringe, I recommend you just keep with the 2 beads for the double brick stitch. So attach the fringe just like that. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, I am gonna try to post more often. I'm gonna try to post more videos and short videos. I post short videos on TikTok. And yeah, keep letting me know in the comments what kind of things you like, what other tutorials you might wanna see. I'll do my best to respond or make videos as I can. Also, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I didn't even realize it happened. Thank you so much. That's really awesome. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.